Sometimes we wish things would have never happened in the first place. But when it happens, we freeze like a body with no soul. Then apprehension and fear covers our mind like a dark poison and killer cloud. And when it's time to take action upon what is needed to be done, many people suddenly forget what happened in the first place. But me, I was ready to do my part, no matter what the cost. Iraq has always held a long, complicated history, a deep past referred in biblical times to being home to Babylon, to recently being held under a strict dictatorship of Saddam Hussein for over 30 years. Saddam ruled his people with an iron fist, gassed his own countrymen, and controlled how the people of Iraq lived. In the events after 9/11, it was necessary to remove Saddam from power in order to help prevent future terrorist attacks against the United States and the world. The United States Army has played a huge role in protecting the world since 9/11, deploying troops to places like Afghanistan and Iraq, and its main go-to unit has always been the 10th Mountain Division.
When you look at 9/11 and the events that immediately followed that, this brigade was the first brigade combat team to have forces to go into Afghanistan. Post Desert Shield, Desert Storm, it is a fact that 10th Mountain Division is the most deployed division in the United States Army.
On the morning of 9/11, I was standing in our S2 shop watching the morning news, and that's when they started reporting that there was a fire at one of the World Trade Centers, and that apparently, without confirmation, that a plane had crashed. That night, President Bush, in response to that, told America, if you wear a uniform, get ready.
Operation Anaconda targeted one of the last strongholds of Al-Qaeda and Taliban forces in the mountainous Shaiko Valley in eastern Afghanistan.
Operation Anaconda was supposed to be a 3 or 4 day mission, so we packed for a 3-day mission. Food, water, necessities. We were going to go find a gunfight. Guaranteed. Turned out it was 11 days, a lot higher suck factor than anybody anticipated, but nobody was complaining. Because really, what are you going to complain about? The guy next to you is suffering just as much as you are.
Through weeks of intense fighting, troops from the 10th Mountain Division's 1st Brigade flushed out enemy forces without a single loss of life to the division. It had been the heaviest fighting of the war, fought at the highest altitudes in U.S. history.
We did it together. Forever 187 is going to be family.
August 2005. Soldiers from the 10th 1st Brigade Combat Team set to deploy to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom 4.
For the Warriors, this ceremony marks the end of 12 months of hard work. Beginning today, we'll begin another chapter in the distinguished history of the Warrior Brigade Combat Team and the 10th Mountain Division.
The division is no stranger to war. The 10th has been all over the world, including Somalia, Haiti, and the Balkans. They've arguably had more experience doing complicated humanitarian missions than any other unit of the Army. The 10th Mountain Division has a rich history dating back to World War II. The 10th was the first U.S. infantry division to be trained specifically for mountain warfare and extreme cold climate combat.
The idea and the concept came out in 1939 as the Army studied what was happening in Europe. The Finns, or the Finnish elite troops and mountain troops, had great success against the Russians, and there was a decision to create a mountain warfare type unit of a division size of elite type of ski troops or mountain warfare troops. So training began in Colorado, and the first battalion to stand up was the 1st Battalion of the 87th Infantry, and then they developed a mountain warfare training center that eventually moved to Camp Hill, Colorado, and trained using, it was a composite of ski team members, alpine enthusiasts, and soldiers that joined together to build a training plan and train on endurance road marches, skiing, infiltrations, mountain climbing, to create this corps of elite troops. It was used in the high point probably in World War II was in 1945. Used, the 10th Mountain Division fought bravely in the Po River Valley in the Italian campaign. And those of you who are historians will know that as coalition forces or American forces were marching up the Italian peninsula, the Germans had a successive series of lines of defense. And it was very tough fighting through that campaign. And the 10th Mountain had great success in Riva Ridge and Mount Belvedere, which helped American forces punch through the Po River line, and eventually the Germans surrender in 1945 on May 2nd.
I wanna be a mountain climber.
The 10th still trains in frigid weather today at Fort Drum, New York, located 30 miles south of the Canadian border. It's been deemed one of the coldest posts to be stationed, with temperatures sometimes dropping below -30 degrees Fahrenheit. In order to prepare themselves for combat operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, the 10th Mountain trains at Fort Polk, Louisiana, at the Joint Readiness Training Center, or JRTC. There, they learn how to deal with difficult situations and make split-second decisions.
Go ahead, move.
The locals here are only actors, and the explosives are controlled for realism. But the effect pays off. The soldiers leave here with a better understanding of what they may face overseas.